The small dark room is freezing cold. The baby's crying from the crib. Isabel's mother looks worried out the window. "We need firewood," she says. "We can't keep the baby warm." She looks down the street. "I can't see them," she whispers. "I'll go, Mother," Isabel says. "I'm faster than you and I can hide from them." Her mother runs her fingers nervously through Isabel's red hair and tries to straighten it out, like when she tidies her up before church. She hasn't been to church since the day came. "You go to hell if you don't go to church," warns the priest. It worries her. Her mother gives up. The hair's dirty and entangled. She hasn't been washed for months. She kisses Isabel on the forehead and gives her a basket. "If only your father was alive," she mumbles. "You be careful, you hear? Look out for him." The girl nods. She knows what her mother means. He is the leader. The largest and most dangerous of them. His fur is reddish and his tail is short. Something or someone has cut it off. That's why the men call him Bobtail. The baby cries. Her mother picks him up and Isabel slips through the door into the street. It's getting dark. The wind is so cold and finds its way into every little opening in her clothes. Usually there are people everywhere on the street, but now no one dares to go out. The neighbor looks at her through his window. He's a blacksmith. Everyone respects him. All craftsmen are respected. Her red hair dances in the wind as she runs down Rue Chapon. She stops at the corner and looks round it. Nothing. Only the howling wind. Thank God the watchmen have lit the lamps. She's heard that there's wood in the old barn on Montmorency, close to Rue Saint-Martin. The cows and pigs are long gone, eaten. She can't remember any winter lasting this long. Everyone is starving. All the livestock is gone, and there's no game left in the forests. That's why the wolves have broken into the city, to hunt people. There's nothing else to eat. They came through openings in the city wall. The wall was built by a king long ago and runs all around the city to protect it from invaders. But because it's so old, there are gaps in it. The poorest live outside the wall, her mother has told her. She says that there are over 200,000 people in the city now. There's simply not enough room for everyone inside anymore. Isabel has never been outside the wall. She's getting close. "Please let there be wood," she prays. It's difficult to hold onto the basket. Her hands are so cold. She quickly looks around as she enters the barn. Here and there are small twigs. And there, a large piece of board. Mother will be proud. She quickly fills the basket, but then she hears the sound. Snarling. It comes from the street. Something is out there. Very slowly she moves towards the opening and peeks out. The wolves. They are walking down Montmorency straight towards the barn. And in front is the leader, Bobtail. He's easy to recognize because of his reddish fur. The men say he comes from Spain. The wolves are red there. They're getting closer. They're passing the house where the alchemist once lived, Flamel's house. She holds her breath. A bead of sweat runs from her forehead and continues down the ridge of her nose. Suddenly Bobtail is at the opening. He sniffs at the air and takes a step into the barn. The large wolf turns his head and looks directly at Isabel. Time stands still. Isabel closes her eyes. Then suddenly the back entrance of the barn slams open and a group of men storm in holding spears and clubs over their heads. Immediately Bobtail turns around. He snarls. Other wolves appear in the opening. The men attack. "Run, Isabel!" The man closest to her yells. It's the blacksmith. He has followed her and gathered the other men. They thrust their weapons towards the wolves while they shout out war cries. Isabel tumbles out of the barn. She doesn't look back to see if any of the wolves are following her. She just runs. Back to her mother. She must be so worried. Isabel holds onto the basket with the precious cargo. Down Montmorency, then left and up Rue Chapon. She's home. Her mother cries and embraces her, kisses her again and again. The next day, Isabel hears that the men pushed the wolves to the small island in the middle of the city and killed them on the square in front of the cathedral. Bobtail and his pack was no more. The wood burned well and helped the small family through the night. The next day, Isabel returned to the barn to get more. And after a couple of weeks, spring melted the icy grip that had held the city for so long. The winter of 1450 was over.